Hey guys, this is Christian Thibaudeau and the godmother of training, Letitia. Now we're going to talk about lateral raises because we're in the overhead pressing series. We of course want to increase the development of those deltoids. First of all, increasing deltoid development is really important for an aesthetic purpose, but also to prevent shoulder injuries and maximize pressing performance, including overhead pressing. Now the problem is that most people don't do lateral raises properly. When they do lateral raises, most people tend to overuse their traps to get the weight up, getting very little in the way of deltoid stimulation. That is especially true of people with more narrow shoulder girdle because they will be in a better leverage to use those traps. Now, here's a variation you can use to minimize traps activation. You're going to be doing a lateral raise seated on a bench. So that would of course be in the C series for your overhead or shoulder pressing workout. You're going to lie down. By changing the angle, I'm taking the traps out of the movement. Now, what you want to focus on when doing any variation of a lateral raise is not getting the dumbbells up, because when you think getting up, the traps will automatically fire first. The muscle firing first will tend to take over the movement. What you're thinking about when doing lateral raise is pushing the dumbbells as far away as possible. Only think about pushing them away, they will go up by default. So keep your head back and then push as far out as possible. Good. You will get much less trapezius development by pushing out. And with the angle here, I'm taking the traps out of the movement also. So if people have problems with overcompensating traps during lateral raise, this is the variation I use. Now, depending on which portion of the deltoid you want to hit, you can make several changes to the type of lateral raise you are using. First, we're going to look at arm position. Okay, we will use the seated position, but just get him stand up. Okay, so here, the more the arm is forward, the more I'm taking the interior deltoid into the movement and taking the posterior out. So if I'm here, it's more balanced, here it's more front. Now, if I'm rotating my arm up, not supinating, it's shoulder rotation, I'm taking those fibers more into the line of action and I'm taking those fibers more out. So in that way, I would emphasize a bit more the interior deltoid. If I move here, that would be even more anterior deltoid. If I rotate out, then I'm putting those fibers in line of action. So if I'm here, I'm rotated inward, I'm taking those out. They're no longer in line of action. These are, and to some extent, the posterior fibers. So if I want to make the shoulders wider, focusing on the medial portion of the deltoid, I would internally rotate and keep my hand a bit more backward. I want to focus more anterior deltoid to increase my bench press, for example, externally rotated at either 45 or here. And now the torso angle. If I'm neutral, it's pretty balanced. The more back I am, the more I'm taking the posterior fibers out and the interior fibers and medial in. So that would focus more on interior deltoid and medial. If on the other end of the spectrum, she is leaning forward, now I'm taking the interior deltoid out, posterior fibers in. So if I want to emphasize the lateral, the medial, and the posterior, and I have an overpowering anterior deltoid, I would use a slight torso angle. I would use that internally rotated position. Dumbbells. And I would make sure not to go forward, so I'm slightly backward here. So that way she would focus more on posterior, and if she's more here, that's going to be more medial. Good. So when you're selecting that C-series exercise for shoulders, it's more often than not a lateral raise, but there's literally about 40 variations of the dumbbell lateral raise you can use. You can change the torso angle, the arm position, and the hand position, and they all change muscle fiber recruitment. Depending on your clients, you will want to use different variation to achieve specific goals. So until next time, this is Christian and Letitia telling you bye-bye and fist of victory.